James Cole Bowen, one of Perth's brightest young chefs. James is the head chef of the Gibney restaurant in South Cottesloe, a restaurant that's already making waves, winning WA's Good Food Guide Restaurant of the Year and securing 2 hats in the Australian Good Food Guide. His journey began in some of Australia's most respected kitchens, including Restaurant Amuse, Lulu La Delizia, Royal Rebelle, and Melbourne's Restaurant Lûmé, where he was named a national finalist in the 2019 Electoral's Appetite for Excellence Young Chef Award, where he got mentored by Australia's top chefs like Annalise Gregory, Dan Hunter, Joe Barrett, and Peter Gilmore. James's cooking is ingredient-driven, celebrating Western Australian produce with a refined yet nostalgic touch. He believes the best dishes almost write themselves when the right ingredients are found, blending influences from food, design, art, and music. James Cole Bowen has become known for creating luxury dining experience with soul, and he's shaping the next chapter of modern Australian dining.
I'm James Cole Bowen. Doesn't matter. Easy. James Cole Bowen, and I'm the head chef of Gibney restaurant in Cottesloe.
Lovely. Get on your menu now.
Yeah.
What kind of dishes are you looking at? How do you start building those dishes?
Building the dishes. Do you want me looking?
Either or. I'm happy with you. We're just casual conversation.
Just casual. Okay. I'll pretend the camera's not
Yeah.
What am I doing now? Right now, looking at menus. So, obviously, yeah, seasonal changes. We've got vegetables kind of big focus with dictating what we can and can't do. So, as things like we're in spring right now, so there's some things going on the menu that are great, but it's quite short season. So we're looking into that summer menu where we like where we are at the beach, we're so busy. So once we lock into summer, we're just kind of in there for 4 or 5 months. So it's getting things locked in that are something we can produce at a high volume, like high quality. There's always that fine balance of like making it easy, making it hard, making it good. It's like finding that sweet spot of like you can make really elaborate dishes that are amazing, but you can't produce it on a volume the volume we do is like huge. So it's finding that balance of like almost distilling it down to like its simplest form. Like why are you making it complicated? Does it need to be complicated? Like what's the like the most pure version that's like it's simple, but it doesn't need this extra garnish, doesn't need this extra technique, doesn't need to be there, does it make the dish better, like it might look better, but does it eat better? Things like that. Just trying to find this kind of, and this kind of yin and yang, and it might be kind of I'm very mindful of like the workload across all the sections, all the kitchens. So like there's obviously technical dishes and difficult dishes, but the whole section's not going to be like that. There's a bit of a yin and yang. So there's a dish on a section that's quite like there's a dish at the moment, there's a spring vegetable dish, like 7-8 components that they've done like daily. So I'm mindful that like that's a lot of work. So the rest of their section has to be quite balanced as far as like the amount of like labour or chefs working on that section and like the other dishes they're preparing. Because if one section just had all the difficult work and the most work, it would just it'd be unfair. If the workload would be unfair, and you really feel that across the kitchen that this section's really having a hard time, whereas another section might not be. So I'm really conscious about everyone kind of having even amount of work and help and labour and just be feeling like everyone's having a good time with it. Yeah, no one's like
keeping it balanced.
Yeah, keeping it balanced. Yeah. Exactly, because like it's there's definitely like dishes that come on that are more hard than others, or like more there's just like simple things and hard things, and just keeping a balance of everything. Like if you make everything too simple, it's just so to make things good is requires work. Can't rely on
so hard.
Just right. Yeah,
I don't envy you having to figure out what the customer wants and then finding that balance. It's easy.
Definitely. Yeah, no, like that's the thing. And being like a fairly new restaurant, we're kind of still kind of finding we're still early days of what we do and what the menu dictates we do, and always trying to evolve. Like it's hard to, when you're kind of in it, like what you're doing is just you kind of rolling with the punches, but every now and then you just have to step back and why is this on the menu? Like could we use something else? Like do we need to use a product from Victoria? Can we get something in WA that's as good, if not better. And it's like, the obviously is price equation and logistics with that as well. But like, always trying to look to like refine. Like sometimes it's easy, just like there's a product you can get, and you know it's reliable, it's good, and the price is good. But you're like, you always, yeah, like you are making it harder. You're like, you can, is there like, I don't know, like, is there, should we be, that's always the thing with West Australian ingredients. Australia's a bit of everything. And there's things that, even things like beef. Beef's a good example. Like, we've got a lot of West Australian beef. We do have some Victorian beef, and it's purely out of like consistency. Consistency is really good. The price is good. It's very consistent. But always looking to like, do we throw a spanner in the works? Like, can I get, you know, it might not be the same consistency. You might get, you know, good weeks and bad weeks. But is that something we should celebrate? Like, do we, and it's going to be harder because this might be just one farm we're buying it from. It's not like just, you know, click a button on an ordering thing and it rocks up, it's perfect. But like, you know, I might have to, you know, it's creating logistical problems because this might be like, the way you order this has to be a certain spec and it comes, it's not like perfect, that act ready to go. It might be a bit more work on the back end with like, is that something we should be working towards? Like, obviously creating a lot of complexity in the back end of getting on the menu, but like, is that something we should be moving towards? I'm always thinking kind of forward of like the direction restaurants going is, where do I want to look like in a year, 2 years, like things like that.
Was there anything at the moment that excites you looking forward? Are you looking into sustainability or vegan? As that seems to be the big thing?
That's not like honestly, vegan like vegetable cookery is always, vegetables are always exciting. Vegan, we always have, like, we've always been pretty good with vegans. I've always worked in restaurants where, like a tasting menu restaurant where it's only like 10, 14 courses and you'd have to have a vegan version of every course or like a dairy-free version, gluten-free version. So I've kind of been trained with that mentality. Like, there's some restaurants you work and everyone, fuck dietaries, fuck vegans, gluten-free, whatever. But this place of work where it's like, you have to think about it. It's like part of what you do is like, you've got this puree, you've got to have the dairy-free version, you've got to have like, the onion garlic-free version, you've got to have, you know, gluten-free version, or no soy, whatever it is. It's like something in some places I work where it's just mandatory, and it was never fussed about, like, it was never an inconvenience to cater to dietary. So it was, I think, as like when I started the industry and now, the dietaries are just kind of, they're not going away. If anything, it's more prevalent. Like, it's something that you run into every day. So like, there's a lot of people that shift that kind of mindset to like get on board with that. And I don't think it really holds you back. I think if you're like quite creative, you can work around dietaries and make stuff.
Big time. Do you think your experience, obviously you worked in some great restaurants around Perth and in Melbourne as well. Do you think all your experience, including TAFE, has prepared you for all these things? So learning dietaries here.
Yeah, I think it's something, I guess learning at TAFE, you do kind of cover all the bases with cookery and like the curriculums. It's probably a bit more, I'm sure, the curriculum now is probably more targeted to catering for dietaries than it might have been like a 1 week course when I did it, but now it's probably a lot implemented in curriculum with like catering for allergens or religious, you know, things to work around. And
we have a whole vegan unit now. 9 weeks of vegan.
That's it. And I think there's like chefs that, you know, made a career on doing vegan food, and it's not really a restriction. It's just like another way of thinking. You just have to. Honestly, sometimes it makes you more creative because you like when you've got this box to work in, and you're like, this is when you can do anything. It's like it honestly is constraint because you just don't know where to focus on. Whereas once you got like a box of beer, and can't use this, can't use that, can't use that, and then you just. You know, I think it allows you to be more creative and to make something delicious.
That's great. So thinking back to your TAFE time, so I know, 15 years ago?
15 years now, yeah. TAFE.
Were there any lecturers that really helped you out, that really guided you, and how was your experience with
working with TAFE was great. I think the best thing was, especially North Metro, I was exposed to all the apprentice competitions, I think back to like being an apprentice, and you're great working your workplace, and you kind of the only stuff you're learning is like your stuff at TAFE, your stuff, the dishes you're making at work, and then these apprenticeship competitions, they really allowed you to kind of think for yourself, and you almost had to like definitely it's almost that competitive thing too. Like I think it almost treat it like almost like a sport. Like you like work and you take like training, and then these competitions would be like the the event. So it'd be really make you. I think it made me think independently from an early age. Like I think it really allowed me to think. Like it's so easy just to go to work and do your job and go to TAFE and follow thing. But when you almost you have to think for yourself or come up with your own ideas, or like yeah, you could just like cook a dish and work at a competition or etc etc. But it almost allowed you to think as your own like your own ideas, your own
Like you said, when you get put into a box with those
yeah.
competitions, you get certain ingredients, so you have to do
Yeah,
certain
I
things.
really thought, yeah, even yeah, just it's really yeah, it kind of opened a lot of doors, and I think the competitions were a good way to kind of yeah, it wasn't work related, it wasn't like it was very much just kind of your own ideas, your own expression of food at an early age, especially. I think that if I hadn't had that exposure in TAFE and like early career, I don't think it would have. Like it's so easy to just kind of go to work and do your job, and especially when you're starting out, you're just listening to someone else and you're just taking orders and you're doing what's required. And then this kind of thinking early on at TAFE and doing the competitions and things like that, you really start thinking for yourself. And I think that helped me a lot, allowed me to grow really quickly. And because I guess when you jump from being like, yeah, I guess a chef to place or sous chef to even a head chef, when you've got to do your own menu and you have to write your own, you have to all your systems and organization, and yeah, writing up your own menu. If you don't, I started learning that as an apprentice really early on with the competitions and thing. I'd be writing my own menus and my own ideas. I didn't start that. I wasn't exposed to that. 15 years ago, it really, I think it really helped me later on in my career. I was already, the cogs already turned in such a young, early stage of my career that it really helped play out.
Yeah, that's great. What about some of your history? So what have you done? What have you achieved? What are some major achievements for you? I know them.
I don't know. I guess I've really never I've never had. I think in my whole career, I've never had this. I've never had a plan. Like I never there was a point. There's a point, like a turning point early in my career. Like even when I started, I didn't really want to be a chef. I wasn't like from 15, drop out of school and like I'm gonna be chef. I was just kind of like I finished high school. I wasn't really doing anything. I wasn't I didn't really have much direction. I really enjoy the art and music, woodwork, mechanics, all these kind of making things with your hands, creative subjects. In food, I think I fell out. I do like home ec and cooking and year 8 stuff. Really enjoyed that. And I think it verged into more of home economics with sewing and things like that. And I honestly think I felt like most people just kind of dropped. Everyone enjoyed the food part early on in high school, but when it became textiles and stuff, really lost interest. And then my first job was working in a kitchen washing dishes and kind of just exposed to kitchens and chefs and what that would be like. And my parents always came from a hospitality background, working in hotels and things like that. So they always kind of saw it as, a career. It wasn't just something you do, work in hospitality, but just something you do while you're a uni and then you go off, do a real job or whatever.
Yeah.
What's the question? True.
Just a history. That's great.
History. Yeah. So started, always had my parents kind of pushed me into hospitality can be a career. And then, I finished school. I hadn't really made my mind up. It's really hard. I feel like a lot of pressure being young to decide what you're going to do as a career. It's a really big decision. And cooking wasn't necessarily your top of mind, but it just seemed honestly, really just kind of get my parents to come back. You got to do something. I was like, I'm already working in the kitchen. I'll be a chef, whatever. Shut up, mum and dad, whatever. So it was honestly, I kind of went in it very naive, didn't really know what I was getting into. And, it probably took a year of actually working in a kitchen where I was like, I really enjoy this. This is this job, just ticks all the boxes. It's a physical job. It's, you obviously have to be quite creative. It's making things with your hands. All the things that other industries I wanted to go into, maybe being woodwork and mechanics or art or music. All the things I liked about those industry jobs and careers, I really cooking and hospitality really ticked the boxes there. So it was not something that was really obvious going in, trying to make on my mind of to be a chef or not. But once I started a kitchen, like that environment, that creativity, and like just always learning. I think that's something I really enjoy. Is just it's kind of best and worst about it. It's like you can always be learning, and you can never know it all. And when you think you know it all, you haven't even scratched it. You can work your whole life and still not know what you're doing, and that's
never ending. Yeah.
I kind of first second year kind of got sucked into started like exposed to cooking competitions, and then I was like, oh, I was just working in one restaurant. I didn't even know about it in Australia. There was like better restaurants out there, and then like in the world for that matter. And at that time, we didn't really there was no Instagram, there was no like YouTube had just started, and the food, like the best exposure was stuff buying. You hear about chefs, and then they get this book, and these restaurants have books. So it's and even then, it wasn't like Amazon, get every book in the world. It was like, you could probably get some stuff online, but also big then. It's like, you'd have to like go to a library and hope they might have like three. You find these like, I think of the books at the time would be like Key Restaurant and Peter Doyle's book and like the Mark book. There was some of these restaurants, and I think just Australia, because it was the access here, but find these books and you start looking at these books and like, what is this food? This is like obviously working like a cafe and publishing. And then, seeing these books as an apprentice, and you're like, what is this food? This is like, something to look like food. And I was really like, people doing this, I want to do this. And then that's where I think I wanted to, go into that fine dining world, just keep learning. So this stuff was like completely foreign to me. And now I think it's great now, like joining the industry now, it's kind of never been a better time because there's just so much access to information, and like, this is the best time to be a chef in order to do it. It's, you can, the information is everywhere. You can learn so much in videos, online, obviously working in restaurants. And the level of entry is it was really like, I guess, gate kept, and it was really hard to get to these, really high-end restaurants. Now I feel like it's quite easy. If you're really committed and you have a good attitude, you can work anywhere in the world.
Oh, amazing. Last one.
Yeah.
Is there anything, I know you've been around the TAFE and is there anything that we can improve as a TAFE, you reckon, to make a chef better when they come into your kitchen or a kitchen in general?
Yeah, I think it's
anything we're missing. Like, we're really adapted to sous vide. We're taking on the vegan stuff. Do you think like there's stuff that we're missing that we could really help you guys?
Yeah, it is hard because I guess I'm not as up to date with what the current term is, but I guess because the industry does move so fast, so it's like, I would say how quickly you can adapt the curriculum to industry, because there might be like something like sous vide, something fairly new, but to be honest, it's kind of like that might be a new thing in the curriculum now, but that's kind of like, there's people kind of moved away from it now. It's kind of everything. I think with food is kind of like fashion. Everything goes in circles. So like, sous vide becomes fashionable, trendy, and then there's industry has to adapt, TAFE has to adapt, and then the people move away from that, and then it's like, now the whole thing is like, I guess, live fire cooking. So then TAFE will have to, put that in the curriculum, and then by the time, you spend all this money to do a wood fire thing, and by the time TAFE's, everyone's learning this wood fire cookery, and then it might move on again, it might be something else. So it's I guess that, it's probably the hardest thing, and like, it's not the easy thing just to implement, I guess. Staying up to date. I think like a good foundation is the most important thing, regardless of what's trendy and relevant in the industry. I think that having a good foundation is the most important. And generally, I think TAFE's doing, they're a great job, and they've come through. They're good. They're good chefs, and they yes, it's I guess just the only thing if I had to adapting to industry, I guess, trends, but that's hard because I don't know how hard. I mean, coming up with curriculum and implementing is quite a big job, but I guess things like that, I say, being up to date with, I guess, modern cookery, what's happening in restaurants, and adapting that to TAFE. But that'll be the hardest thing because it changes all the time. So it's, I guess, how quickly can you implement new things in the curriculum, and then at the same time move and be connected enough to the industry to know, that's not, we've spent a year teaching people sous vide, now no one's doing it anymore. And then it's like, there's something else, yeah, good fire cookery and you implementing that. And then now so no one's doing that anymore. There's going to be something else coming along and, fermentation.
Well, that's, as you said earlier, you said about you just see things, you get exposed to it.
Yeah.
And that's what tape is. We try and expose everyone
exactly.
to it. That way you can see the wood fire, and then when you become head chef.
Yeah, I definitely think tasting great. There's things that I did at tape and I was like, this is weird, I'll never do this ever. But then like later on I was like, oh, I did that at tape. Well, how did I do that? Because it really becomes valuable later. And it's definitely, I think, the spectrum of stuff you get to learn and be exposed to. So at the time, it's sometimes a bit confusing. You're like, this is weird, but it's great. They come, you're kind of like, oh, that's why I learned that. Because it all makes sense later. I think when it's honestly looking back and you go, like, tape is very, you're like, I learned, I can't, but I cooked that at tape. That was really cool. Especially in industry now, I think with menus, especially in Australia or Perth, it's like a lot of people kind of do the same thing. They're using the same protein, and it's kind of like you get used to this. You're going at tape, and you get to like, I don't know, you get to maybe you do the game unit, and you get to cook like game proteins, animals, or even like preparing fish. Like you get to learn that at tape. And I think a lot of, depending on where you work, a lot of the industry is like, moving away from obviously the cost of stuff. Like a lot of people buy their fish already free, they fill it in, ready to go. And I think learning some of those skills at tape has been, the industry moved away from some of these like really fundamental skills like butchery and fish preparation and stuff like that. So learning that at tape has been, there's a lot of things like, it'd be like, the things that you did at tape, and it was like, there'll be a certain point in your career and you go, I don't know how to do that. I did that at tape. So it's like, it's been covered. It's just looking back. It's having that, the diversity, like coordination skills, like covering all the base, and see, you'd like everyone to be in depth, every single thing. But I think tape does a great job because even things now that I'll be like, I want to do this. I did that at tape, but
how can I make it more modern? Put it on a fire.
One thing I reckon could be taught at tape that wasn't taught. I think knife sharpening is an interesting.
It's in the curriculum now.
That's a great, especially with this. I don't know. With my exposure and everything's moved to more Japanese knives than I guess European knives, and the whole sharpening thing is like something that I don't know. We were never taught, but like now I think it's kind of fundamental. And so you're surprised how many chefs
take care of your knives.
Yeah, exactly. It's a kind of difficult skill to learn, and it takes time. You're going to kind of mess up a lot of knives in the learning process. But I guess, teaching stuff, I think it's knife work is fundamental, and like, if your knives aren't sharp, like it is paramount. So learning like that part of the curriculum, that's excellent. Yeah, that's one thing I always thought people couldn't do it. She teaches the tape. Now it's great. That's why.
Better get